Hello, and thanks for tuning back into Season 2 of Cosmic Crit. This is Rebecca here to introduce episode 76 of the podcast. This week we are back to start the AP with some conflict and action, but before we get there, I wanted to make some announcements that we didn't get to last week. First off, we are well into March and our fan submission challenge is underway. This month we are asking Crittermanders to help us out by generating some new cards to add to the official Paizo Critical Hit deck, which we are adding to our podcast for the Season 2. If you've seen those cards, you know that they can turn the tide of a battle if one of us rolls a natural 20, much like the Critical Fails did in Season 1. We have a link in this episode's description to our website where you can find out rules on how to submit. And the winner will be our favorite submission, and we'll earn some Starfinder swag to show our appreciation. Next up, we have a lot of Twitch streaming news. First off, you might have already seen the Twitch stream Shooting the Crit these last few weeks. It's a fan show for Cosmic Crit and Starfinder that's run by friends of the show Tim and Max, and it's every Sunday at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time, right before our new podcast episode drops. We are giving them some exclusive behind-the-scenes access to our show, so if you're as big of fans of Cosmic Crit as they are, you do not want to miss their stream. You can find them on Twitter at Shooting the Crit and also on Twitch, and make sure that you follow and subscribe to their channel. Next, we have the Cosmic Crit live stream, which is part of our Patreon goals. And our next one is coming up this Sunday, March 24th, right before Shooting the Crit's next episode. And this month, we are going to be playing a pop culture game live with the audience and with audience participation, hosted by our Zeitgeist savant, Miles. I'm personally really excited about this. It'll be live on our Twitch channel around 9 p.m. Eastern on Sundays, so make sure you're tuned in that evening to our stream. I think that's it for the announcements this week. We have a ton of news and new content to share with our Patreon patrons now that we've reached 4 goals. So if you want in on that action, you can become a patron today. So let's stop talking and get to playing. Sit back, relax, and enjoy episode 76, Cosmic Crit and the Order of the Phoenix's Respite.
Episode commencing in 3, 2, 1. Episode initiated.
We are haranguing houses of the holy and going down like a lead balloon in this week's prog-rocking episode of Cosmic Zeppelin. Woo. I'm not coolin', and there is no foolin' you all out there. My name is Patrick, and I'm your GM, your game master in this Tolkien-influenced superband. Come listen to me ramble on as we wield the hammer of the gods that will drive our starships to new lands. Joining me in ascending this week's stairway to heaven are 5 black dogs, your players, and my friends. To my right, all last night they sat on the levee and rolled the natural 1. It's Tyler playing Nikithi.
Sounds about right.
To his right, this lady I know is sure all that glitters is surely gold. It's Rebecca rockin' Talara.
Hello.
Across the digital table, this bear hibernates his way through the lands of ice and snow. It's Miles with a win.
Good evening.
To his right, whether it's nervous or communicative, this goblin's having a breakdown. It's Jabert playing Bumfuzzle.
Hey, Patrick, how you doing?
Good. And to my left, finally, the way this Vanguard moves is gonna make you sweat, gonna make you groove. Drew is here running with Cass.
Good evening.
Hey guys, how are you doing?
Pretty
this night,
good.
This evening as we play in this game. Thanks for indulging me in a new format for Season 2's intros. If you haven't realized it yet, the theme for the intros this season is going to be music, bands, and stuff.
Oh boy.
Hey,
So before we start tonight, I was wondering if you all had one band or musician desert island scenario here. Who would you pick?
That's a really tough question for me.
Oh, it's really easy for me. I'll go first. I'll make it really easy. My answer would be the Foo Fighters. No question.
Excellent.
Especially if they can come to the desert island with me and perform live.
Gotta check
That's
their
how this
schedule.
works.
I don't think that's. I think maybe you get like their entire catalog at the very least.
I'm all right with that.
Yeah, my favorite band is a little band called Cake. They haven't released much lately. I think they have a new album or a new single coming out soon. But they just always kind of spoke to me back in the day and stuck with me.
Jabert and I went to that Cake concert many a year ago. That was an awesome show.
I've never been to one. They don't come to my area most of the time.
I was about to say, maybe you should move to Boston.
Well, when they tour, they definitely come to Atlanta.
They haven't in a while because I keep.
Well, they've not been active in a while, but their new album comes out, I think, in a few months.
Yeah, they've announced tour dates for the last 2 tours they've been on last year and this year, and neither of them went to Atlanta.
My favorite band, definitely not going to see them live anytime soon. But Frozen in Time. Some of my favorite music is Smashing Pumpkins. Just one of those bands I feel like, when they were in their prime, they were like honestly about making music and imploded under their own egos and problems and didn't have a chance to sell out, as it were, besides maybe a Simpsons appearance and things like that.
And that was early. Even that was early. That was before Billy Corgan shaved his head.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, some people argue Machina kind of was going towards that direction, but I actually really like that album a lot.
Yeah, me too. Miles, you have to pick one band.
All right, so I mean, my favorite band since I was 10 has always been Green Day, so that's probably what I'm going to go with. Mm-hmm. But anyone who's on our Discord knows that I'm super into music, and I'm always have a carousel of different bands that I'm super passionate about.
Oh yeah, well, like Smashing Pumpkins is not my favorite music to listen to right now, and I mentioned it's probably the same way with Green Day, but there's just those bands that you keep going back to.
Oh yeah. I mean, they still put out music, and I still buy it.
Tyler, I'd love to hear about you.
I am not a big music guy. I have little weird things that I listen to. I'll pick. I don't know if this is necessarily my favorite. Maybe top 3 at least, but I'll pick him because I think he's the most interesting person that I'd listen to, and that's Doc Watson. So
I was going to be like, don't you dare say John Denver.
Oh, I don't know who that is. Doc Watson is a really great guitarist, bluegrass, folk singer, and he doesn't have a lot out there, and he's old, but it's really, really fun to listen to.
Jib Jab, you're, I think, the last one here.
Be taken with you.
Daft Punk?
Yeah, absolutely.
Love me some Daft Punk.
Oh, there's some good jams. There is some important jams that they've put out.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
I started listening to them back in like high school before I knew who they were. And then it wasn't until college when somebody was like, yeah, you can just borrow my copy of Discovery. And I was just like, oh, this is the band.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing them on like MTV2 or something like way back in the day. Be like, oh boy, they're getting some weird stuff on this channel.
I remember seeing that animated movie that like
Interstellar.
That played on, was it Adult Swim or Toonami? I can't remember whatever that played on Cartoon
Toonami,
Network.
I think.
Just fantastic stuff.
This season of Cosmic Crit is going to be very music oriented, and I hope you guys are ready for that. We need to dive into it to get to the choruses, the crescendos, what have you. And when we start each episode this season, we're going to be doing our little recaps in a different way. We're going to have our last time on segments be live. We're going to record them, right now. We used to do it beforehand and kind of edit them together, but we're changing it up this season. So yeah, starting right now, what do you say? What happened last time on Cosmic Crit?
Talara took the wheel and used her witch warper abilities to stave off a biker gang following the party.
Wynn is a giant bear, and like all bears, he's adept at tearing inner cycle gangers in half like tissue paper.
Kaz reflected on how he got into this situation as he hit a gangster with a Radiant Nova Star Strike.
Nikithi and his Akata drone Idis help load the restolen cargo and fly off in the Phoenix's Respite.
And Bumfuzzle showed up and threw some sweet bombs at the baddies.
Pew, pew, pew.
Pew, pew.
Everyone's
Says the bomb.
Says the bomb.
Bombs go pew. That's what happened.
It's canon now.
That's canon. Yep.
The massive bomb exploded the Starship. Pew, pew. Right. So This episode starts with us looking into the star-speckled infinite of the cosmos. Deep in the vast, untamed edges of the galaxy. In Starfinder, the further you travel from Absalom Station, the heart of the interconnected series of drift beacons, the longer it takes to go through drift space. So traveling to Absalom only takes a few days, but going away from it can take weeks. We see now a purple and green tear in the fabric of space-time as a pathway out of the drift opens up, and through it comes a fairly unremarkable vehicle. We see a transport vessel, packed world design, looks like it's gone through several retrofits, overhauls, upgrades. Scoring along its hull shows it has seen some action and lived to tell the tale. This is your ship, which we introduced in the last episode, the Phoenix's Respite, and we travel inside the ship as you all are just coming off of a 2-week journey after picking up supplies on Urkala. And yeah, inside we fix upon Kaz, Wynn, Talara, Nakithi, and Bumfuzzle. It has been a long haul through drift space. 14 days, but you all honestly made a very good time. Whenever you make a trip out to the vast, anywhere in the vast, you roll 5 6-sided dice. And that's how many days it takes to get to the destination. So potentially, it could only take 5 days. But you have the same odds of it taking 30 days, which is crazy, but you all made it in only 2 weeks. So besides exploring a scuttled, deserted ship in drift space, a few meandering space rocks, and spotting one very mysterious and seriously foreboding duck, you are now out of the drift, and your journey here to the planet Nakondis was pretty uneventful.
I'm sorry, did you say we looked into a duck?
You found a duck in drift space, yes.
Oh, okay.
But, it had red eyes, so you just decided to fly right by it. Like, no stopping for that duck.
Good move. Good move. You never pick up a duck in a dungeon. You never worry about a duck in drift space.
Is that from
What's that girl doing there, and why she got that advanced calculus book? She's not supposed to be This trip involved a lot of downtime, as traveling through drift space can be not boring, but you set the drift drive, and it basically takes you through. But yeah, this is time that you guys can get to know one another as a crew. Tell me what happened in those 2 weeks. What do your characters do to pass the time?
Kaz is a tempered pilgrim, so he has spent most of this time trying to get assistance in learning the languages of the other members of the crew, their native tongues, their planetary tongues, because he was taught once long ago that you cannot learn anything about another culture until you learn it from their own way of speaking.
The tempered pilgrims being Kasothans from the Adari, who underwent this process to kind of immerse themselves in other cultures, correct?
Correct. And not necessarily just Kasothans. The Kasothans go on a pilgrimage, but the tempered pilgrim does not require to be a Kasothan.
You're a human. What are you doing following the Adaran culture?
Because Kaz's martial arts master was Kasothan, taught him many things, and part of his training was reaching out and learning about the other cultures of the other students at the compound where he was trained. And now that he has moved away, gone out from that, he was tasked with going on his own pilgrimage and learning as much as he can about other cultures.
Awesome.
Wynn has quite literally just been sniffing around, getting used to his new crewmates and taking in a big whiff. Some people have shrugged it off as weird, and others have been kind of bothered by it.
No. Everyone shrugged it off as weird. I can tell you that without.
Actually, I
feel like Talara would have been really annoyed by it.
I feel like Kaz would have been like, "Yes, of course. Smell me."
Just opens up the armpits and be like, "Bring it on, brother.
Breathe deep."
Literally did that in real life.
And I think the one he's having probably the most fun with is Bumfuzzle, because goblins are entertaining to win. As someone who's mostly out in the wilderness, Bumfuzzle kind of makes him feel a little bit more at home, since goblins, while they are spacefaring, are typically known as being terrestrial creatures.
Oh yeah, no, this is not a goblin. This is a space goblin.
You know what I mean. God, oh my gosh. Pedantic.
Every time.
I'm not being pedantic. They're different races, and the space goblins are getting a redemption in Starfinder via this podcast.
I guess I quit the show.
I guess this is as good a time as any to say that Bumfuzzle's mostly been hanging out in the vents, and so that this may also be like part of why Wynn is sort of
sniffing around.
Right? Well, yeah. Right.
Why
and
the ship smells like Bumfuzzle?
Why it smells like goblin farts? Yeah. No. So I mean, because it's Bumfuzzle has been a little elusive these past couple of weeks. Sort of just occasionally just hear him like bumping through, and like occasionally the vent will be knocked down in the kitchen, and then there's just like a salami missing.
So you're just driving Nikithi crazy.
That's right. Just like occasionally a thing will be like broken and then like kind of like glued back together at like a 45-degree angle or something, and
so
just like leave it on your bed.
By week 2, Nikithi's replacing the typical like actual vent, gates with just solid pieces of metal.
I don't think that doesn't.
No more ventilation
work. You will suffocate next season. Let's start it now.
he's just like, I'm gonna flush this guy out one way or another.
Let's open the ship to the vacuum.
Yeah, pretty much.
So Talara has been sizing up her new crewmates.
Just
not
like
totally impressed so far, but she has seen Nikithi seems to have a bit of intelligence about him. Maybe a worthy adversary at some card games, perhaps. So she's been teaching him some rules, possibly with the intention of taking advantage later on.
Teaching him the wrong rules, maybe?
Possibly.
You definitely want to pass if you have all the same color card. That's a baddie. the same suit and color, trash.
Yeah, she's not out to make enemies immediately, but she can stand to benefit from the way she's teaching the rules, perhaps. She's willing to do that.
Well, that leads me in my next questions. Just how do your characters interact over a 2-week period? Is there any like who's the boss like sitcom scenarios where someone walks in on someone else in the ship's tiny bathroom?
For Nikithi's part, I imagine in terms of the relationships, I think he would find Wynn and Kaz as kind of like too idealistic. Like I think he would think Wynn has too big of a heart. Like it's kind of like he's just this guy's way too hopeful and way too trusting, and I'm gonna have to try and be the realistic voice of reason. That made sense. And obviously Bumfuzzle is killing him inside in like a very deep level that he didn't think was possible.
I want to know where you get the idea that Wynn has a big heart, because he's literally an eco-terrorist. Like he's done nothing to show that he has a big heart.
Sure, well, but he's nice. I mean,
he cares about the environment.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So, and he probably doesn't know that unless you're just like, I'm an eco-terrorist.
I mean, I have it buzzed into my left arm in the fur.
I'm an eco-terrorist.
that's a weird tattoo, but I dig it.
Weird thing to have.
Well, it's funny. He does have Xeno Warden armor. He's got the sigil of the Xeno Wardens on him. So I mean, he's been places.
That's true. And actually that would interest him greatly because he's a bioengineer, and so your living armor that'd be something that we could Nikithi and Wynn would probably actually connect over. So he might just think that that may be, and that might
too nice.
Well, maybe not so too. Now I'm thinking maybe not so too nice, but maybe that you're too like rigid in your thinking because you have this literally Xeno eco-terrorist mentality, and he probably might think that that's a little too rigid, and he also likes to use literally living things to make weapons, so he's probably doesn't agree there with you.
Well, so do Xeno Wardens. Like Wynn's armor is literally a living thing.
They have some weapons that are plant based.
Yeah, so I do think that Nikita would be very open to having Talara teach him cards, and probably would. They're both from a more similar outlaw background, so I think they could connect over that. And he might even understand. Maybe he might understand a little bit more of the game she's trying to cheat him in than she realizes. But he also might, he probably has. He's probably like me, he has terrible luck. So even if he knows that he's being cheated, he probably can't stop it anyway.
Is this a dice-based card game? Is rolling some kind of dice involved?
If it makes me win more, then yes, absolutely.
Yeah, okay, yeah, then he knows he's being cheated, but he can't help it anyway.
Talar is changing the contours of the table to
Sounds like it's like the cones of Dunshire.
Yeah.
It's exactly like the cones of Dunshire.
Yeah. Win is absolutely trying to kind of be chill because he does not want to kind of show any of his, well, for lack of a better word, cards to.
Okay, well, there's been way too many card analogies. You guys at one point all have to sit around and play cards together.
to virtually strangers. I mean, Kaz did. He kind of gets a good vibe from him, and he finds Nikithi kind of interesting.
What about Bumfuzzle, Jibbert? You're hiding most of the time, but do you connect? Do you think Bumfuzzle tries to make a connection with any of these other four weirdos?
Well, I tried fixing that custom rig that I smashed of Nikithi. He seemed to appreciate that too much.
No, he didn't.
You're basically a mechanic as well, right? You'd been working on a ship for months now.
Yeah, no, I'd say, I think Bumfuzzle's mostly has been sort of keeping a low profile, but is sort of interested in Nikithi's stuff, and so sort of goes through his stuff sometimes, and that's probably the extent of their interaction, other than Nikithi shouting at Bumfuzzle, I imagine.
What's a Bumfuzzle's reaction to seeing Nikithi's drone for the first time? Idis, right?
Oh, right. That's right, because I'd forgotten it was in the shape of an Akata.
It's basically, a robotic Akata.
Yeah, I think probably the first time that thing showed up alone in a room, there was an elaborate trap assembled that was basically like this Rube Goldberg machine where the marble rolls down over here and then it cracks the egg open and it just threw a net on top of it.
And it just kept moving. A laundry hamper on top of the grid's head.
Exactly. And it just continued walking, and so I scampered away and back up into the vents.
We can literally probably do an entire episode about you guys hanging out on the ship. Well, let's talk about more specifics here, because while it's a lot of downtime, every once in a while you have to check into your stations, make sure everything is going well with the drift travel itself. And like I said, you found a wrecked ship and some space rocks out there. Who is the captain of this vessel? Who's taken up the Capitan's chair?
Win
the bear is the captain.
Oh yes.
Oh boy, what did we get
an
ourselves?
unbearably good captain.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Oh god.
Buckle in for 6 months.
Oh my god. I'm already so sick.
Bear puns.
This is why Tyler wasn't allowed to be an uplifted bear. Didn't think I would have to worry about it from Miles.
You literally said bear puns for days when you initially talked about this character to me about 8 months ago.
Yeah, well, that wasn't in a positive tone. I wasn't like bear puns for days. It was like
no, it was. I'm looking at
bear
it right
puns
now.
for days. Who else? What is Nikithi doing? Or Sharon, Smarty Pants?
Yeah, Nikithi would be bouncing back and forth between the engineering bay and the science officer's position.
What about who's driving this rig? Who's the pilot?
It might be sort of a mystery to the. I imagine that maybe the rest of the crew sort of thinks that each other one is the pilot. It's because just Bumfuzzle will just sort of come down occasionally and sort of make a few adjustments on knobs and to sort of check a few things and then scamper away.
or I imagine maybe you've like you've plugged in like a little dongle and you have your own little like RC car controller, and you're in the vent.
It's like some ropes that are just going up into a vent.
Yeah,
I'm just pulling on them sometimes.
You've drilled a hole through a bulkhead in the ship just to get a look at the outside of the ship, see where you're going.
Right.
That's not how spaceships work.
He built some weird device like Wesley Crusher in that first season episode of TNG where they were all drunk.
Yeah, well, no, I just used my helmet. I just sort of glued that onto the outside of the ship. So I just poked my head up out into the vacuum of space, and then just sort of just pull on these ropes.
So there's a fishbowl-sized hole on your ship. Oh, I'm noting that.
Our pilot's chairs has a bunch of space phone books sitting in it.
Right.
Nikiti is screaming.
Kaz and Talar, I'm guessing you guys are what, taking up gunnery positions? Are you both gunners?
Yep. Yeah, we'll be on guns.
Yeah, Kaz, not used to guns, but finds it strangely familiar to be sitting in one, ready to fire.
Talara's in the same boat. We can bond over that.
Amongst you all, who do you think their character would be the one to care for the money or the ship finances? Who'd be in charge of that?
That seems like a captain job to me. Yeah.
Quinn?
Yep.
Where we find you exiting drift space here, you look over a data pad, and it has a signed contract and promissory note for this job that you're doing. And it is signed in triplicate, digitally sealed with an official-looking marking from Abadar Corps. Why doesn't anyone that has ranks in culture give me a culture skill check, and I'll tell you what you know about Abadar Corps.
Ooh. All right.
Hooray.
Got +6 in culture.
All right, so we've got some rolls here. It looks like pretty low rolls. We got two 2s, 2 5s. Jeez Louise. And Bumfuzzle as the highest. Jipper, you rolled the 21.
Yay.
Yeah, so almost everyone knows, Abadar Corps is the religion of business, commerce, and trade. But yeah, Bumfuzzle, you know that indeed they sanctify legal contracts and provide for a free market in the universe to kind of thrive. You all can think of them as a giant bank that holds the sanctity of currency as holy, and Bumfuzzle perhaps knows, too, that they have a huge headquarters on Absalom Station that is like the Wall Street that kind of like regulates credit and money and allows for this intergalactic agreed upon form of currency in the form of the credit. You also know, Bumfuzzle, from perhaps your mission prep, that this colony that you're going to on Nakondis is funded mainly with Abadar Corps seed money. So that's, and part of that, you're sure that there's probably representatives among the colonists that are in charge of looking after this corporation's capital investment, perhaps priests of Abadar. And when in this contract, it states that after delivery of the goods that you have now accumulated to Nakondis, and specifically to a location known as Madelon's Landing, the Starship delivering the goods are going to be reimbursed 5,000 credits as means of compensation. So it's a pretty lucrative, vast transport job. 5 ways, that would be 1,000 credits each.
Ooh,
so
pretty good.
Plus by 10% holder's fee.
No. So as you exit drift space, you're still a few hours away from the planet Nakondis. This colony world is one that requires a lot of shipments of goods, so your supply running there. And after cruising along for a few hours, the planet finally comes into view. It's a beautiful backwater planet. You see white, green, and blue, and it seems to have this massive cloudy atmosphere. And this jives with the reports that you might have heard about of this new world, this newly discovered planet from Cedona, your android kind of common friend. As they explain, the planet has a very persistent fog that kind of roils over the lands and seas, just never dissipates. Right, so as you're, maybe getting ready for landing, things like that, Captain Wynn, you notice a small blinking red light, something that you've not seen go off very often here on the Phoenix's Respite. You're picking up what looks like a long-range scan of some kind of object amongst the background noise of radiation, the upper limits here of the atmosphere. And it's providing a good deal of telemetry data. And wasn't anyone up to it? Make me an engineering check. See what you can make out of these scans.
It's an 11. Jeez, Jabert.
But Nikithi's gonna. Oh no, never mind.
No, dude, plus 11 again. You're ridiculous.
Bumfuzzle's got some engineering chops. Yeah.
Yeah.
That didn't hold on.
Learn
hold
from
on,
the
hold
best. Miles Wynn rolled a 9. What's the bear's engineering?
+2.
Okay,
So 11.
Not sure what this thing is, but I think both Nikithi and Bumfuzzle up in the air vents. You're pretty sure what you're looking at here. Would Bumfuzzle come down if they knew what this was?
Let's see. Well, is it dangerous and something that the rest of my crew ought to know about?
Well, I can tell you, it is too small to be a starship. It looks barely larger than a satellite, so unlikely to have any crew, but you're pretty sure you can reckon this is some kind of automated drone of some sort, maybe just moving under impulse power slowly in orbit around the planet. Nikithi, you get this as well, and you guys can continue to scan it from afar as you're getting closer, but wasn't anyone with culture or some kind of appropriate profession check? Give me a roll, see if you can identify the make of this drone vessel.
Also have culture. So that is a 16 for win.
All right, 16 for win. We got a 17 from Talara, 12 from Kaz here. Well, Chipper, what did Bumfuzzle roll?
22.
You've been rolling really well already. Yeah, just not liking it so far.
Just rocks.
This is DC 20, and Bumfuzzle's the only one that makes it. You're taking a look at the digital holographic image that's being pieced together in front of the rest of the crew from up above. And something about this chassis, swept back panels, the gun configuration triggers perhaps a memory, and you seen these kind of drones before, perhaps in the information that was given to you in preparation for your mission. This is an Aslanti orbital drone.
Bumfuzzle just falls out of the falls out of the vent and just smashes onto a control panel and is just scrabbling around and just that's an Aslanti drone! Battle stations! And then runs up to grab the controls.
This is maybe the first time you guys have seen him since back on Urkala. The drone, you are 100% sure, is part of the very expansionist, extremely militant Star Empire. And as you say, battle stations, it begins to change its direction and make for you all.
Do I know, are these things typically armed? Or are they just sort of
yes.
observers? Okay.
You can tell that for sure. You're not sure what configuration yet. But as you guys, I'm sure, can jump into your battle positions, there is another automated ship's warning as the hologram of the Aslanti drone on your ship's viewer seems to malfunction. Because where there was one, there are now 2 of these drones.
Oh, good.
No.
Takes a moment to suss out that, indeed, the Phoenix's Respite is smack dab between 2 of these vessels. It's time for Starship combat, y'all.
No.
What better way to start off this season? It has been some time since we've had a true-to-life, good old-fashioned Starship combat on this podcast. And if you're listening to Cosmic Crit for the first time, or you haven't played Starfinder's awesome Starship combat before, it is a very fun armed conflict where everyone works together or everyone goes down in flames. The crew here have 5 positions on the ship: captain, pilot, gunner, engineer, and science officer. We each round go in order, and they have actions like the gunners fire at will, The engineer has one called Hold It Together, and the ships take turns trying to outmaneuver, outgun, and or outrun one another. It's divided into 3 phases, our Starship combat. Got engineering, helm, and gunnery, and that is how we are going to start things off. Round 1 of this combat, you guys, in hexes on our hexadecimal here grid. These ships are about 7 or 8 hexes. No, this one's even more. Let's see here. Okay, one of them is about 10 hexes away from you, and the ship about 8. Starting us off here, each round of the combat, you guys both act simultaneously, these drones and your ship. But the first thing is the engineering phase, followed by helm and then gunnery. So to start things off this first round of Starship combat, in the engineering phase, while this is called engineering, the ship's captain kind of floats around, and Miles, Wynn can use their abilities basically in any phase, because they can help the engineer, they can help the gunner, they can kind of boost wherever they want to go. So you can interrupt at any time, basically. But let's start things off by turning to the Phoenix Respite's engineer, Nikithi. Tyler, normally there are a number of actions you can do on a turn, but the first thing you have to choose is, do you want to start off in the engineering department, or do you want to run to the science officer chair? Because you're kind of doing both.
Right, and I don't think, we've already determined that these are drones.
Yeah, I don't have specifics about them, but yes, Bumfuzzle knows that. Lanty drone.
Yeah, I could start off with just trying to do a scan, which I think makes sense to me. So yeah, let's have Nikithi go over to the science officer's position really fast, because he just doesn't feel like there's anything. He could try to divert some power to something else, but I think it's more important that we gather information on our enemy first.
We'll come back to engineering then. Let's go on to helm phase. Now, in this phase, the science officer can act, and let's go ahead and do that now, because we're primed with you. One of the things you can do as a science officer is balance the shields. You can target the enemy vessels, or you can scan them. And do you want to scan to start us off?
Yes, I think I'm going to try a computer's check to do a scan, or Nikithi will try to do a computer's check first.
Yeah, pretty easy check. It's actually, I think it's DC 5 plus the tier of the enemy vessel, but for each kind of extra 5 you bypass that, you get more information. So this is one you want to roll high on. You can possibly get all the information about the enemy.
Nikithi has a +8 to computers, so this could potentially be pretty high. Let's see what it is. I have rolled an 11, so it is a 19.
Well, that's very good. So the DC on this scan is 6, which means you've beaten it by 10, right? So every 5 you pass it by. So you get the basic info for the drone, its defenses, as well as its weapons loadout. So not too bad. You already guessed that this has no living crew. The scan backs that up. This is completely robotic AI driving this drone. Let's see. You've got its speed here, the size, the ship classification. This is a tiny racer drone, so it's very small, very fast, has a speed of 12, so right off the bat, you're pretty sure you will not be able to outrun this thing. Also has perfect maneuverability, as it doesn't have a humanoid pilot. It can basically bank and do like all kinds of crazy spins in space without worrying about G-forces and things like that. Under defenses, has a AC and a TL, a targeting lock, of 15. Yep. It's okay. Hull points. This has 20 hull points. And
what about shields? No shields?
You are detecting no shields on this vessel. It looks like it's too small to have a shield generator. As far as weapons are concerned, there is a single weapons port on the front arc of the vessel. And while you haven't scanned the other one, it does look like they are basically the same. And that is it looks like a light laser cannon. It's sporting.
Okay. Nikithi would say to Bumfuzzle, their weapons are purely in the front arc. Stay out of the front arc if possible.
Oh, we shall see about that.
I'll do what I can.
It's going to be a hard one.
Let's see.
Yeah, so this next phase of combat, we need to figure out some initiative. And
All right.
as it matters in this helm phase, now who goes first? This is where ship's pilot comes very handy. Bert.
Yeah.
We're headed over to Bumfuzzle. We're going to have you roll an opposed pilot skill check. So the drones are going to roll, you're going to roll, and whoever rolls the lowest has to move first, which is the exact opposite of how normal ground combat works. Which makes sense once we get into it, but basically you want to move after your enemy because then you can flank them and do all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
So unless the captain wants to go right now, let's make that roll.
Okay, let's do it.
Piloting checks.
I got an 18.
Roll my d20. I've rolled a natural 1 to start off.
Yes!
I quit the fun. Believe it or not, your 18 is going to beat whatever I rolled here. So yeah, these guys are going to just try and flank around the backside of you. Just try and flank, move so they can put you in their front arc.
Okay.
This one does a maneuver. It doesn't seem like it's turning at all. It just kind of slides. It does a little stunt and doesn't change position. It's just kind of moving sideways in space. Mm-hmm. And now you get to move.
Okay, let's see.
Let's talk about the Phoenix's Respite. What's your speed?
So we have a speed of 8, good maneuverability, so we can turn like every other movement.
Mm-hmm.
A turn of 1. So I'm sort of thinking I would like to get somewhere north of this green line that I've drawn to sort of get out of their front arc, or at least this one front arc.
Correct. Yeah, you can try and move in second, flank around at least one of them.
And so I'm thinking what I might do is something like move forward 1, turn forward.
You basically want to make a Yui, right?
Yeah, 1, 2.
Yui in space, and right now your aft is kind of pointing towards their front, which is, I'll tell you right now, very bad for your ship because you do not have guns on the aft part of your ship. You got them everywhere else.
Yeah,
but you're trying to angle your front shields towards basically their starboard. This drone number 1 here at the top.
Yeah, let me actually pull up forward arc is. Okay, yeah. So it's sort of coming out in that. Okay, yeah. So I was just trying to look at like the geometry of what their front arc is actually like. So if this guy's facing this direction,
yeah,
his front arc sort of looks like this.
The front arc is about 15 degrees of the entirety of the ship. The starboard and the port for Starship combat is each about 33%. Of the sides of the vessel, so they're a little bit larger. The aft is the other 15-16%.
Okay, so yeah, I'm going to sort of proceed along this plotted course here, and I'm sort of doing a U-turn back around. I'm going to put them in our front arcs, and I'm going to try to get into their port arcs.
All right, so we're drawing lines on the map, and it looks like Monday Night Football commentary. It's like we're going here, and then we're going to swing around. All right. So moving
and I also want to perform a maneuver.
Yeah. Piloting maneuver. Bumfuzzle showing off.
Yeah, I'm going to take evasive actions.
Evading. Now, this is the DC is equal to 10 plus the tier of your starship, and it provides you can just do normal movement, but it gives you a pretty nice bonus at this level for your AC and your TL. That's basically your armor class and your targeting lock. It's how the enemy ships can hit you. So this is DC 11. What's your piloting?
It is plus 9. So
okay,
so just don't roll that 1.
I can tell you from experience, it's very possible. Roll 1 on piloting.
Or
no, you said it. Let's do it.
No, I'm going to take one of the computer bonuses.
Oh, yes, another thing.
Computer bonuses.
Another thing you can do, which this starship, the Phoenix's Respite, has a computer which allows you to take some bonuses on your turn. Is it a +1/+1?
Yeah, it's 2 +1s. Yeah.
Right. So it is a Mark 1 Duo node computer. So anyone can take these bonuses, and you're going to take a 1. So I think even if you roll a 1, right, that'll be enough.
Yeah, that'll still be good. I was going to see what I would have rolled.
That would have been fine. You rolled so well. All right, so you got a little bonus here, which is going to be helpful because I think we're going into gunnery phase now, right? It's going quickly. Now, Miles' win has not gone as captain, so let's talk about captain's actions, because you have to use ability this turn or lose it.
Okay.
So as the El Capitan, big old bear from the ship, and Miles is Wynn psychically giving commands at this point?
Yes, he's still psychically giving commands. I don't think the crew at all has heard his actual voice yet.
So you've got a couple of actions you can do, but one of them, you know, from what Nakithi's told you, the taunt action is not going to have really any effect on the drones, as they're not even sentient AI. They're just like, you know, basically seek, kill, destroy kind of things. So you can encourage your own crew. You can bark commands at them with the demand action, though you can only do this once per combat per teammate, but it gives a better bonus than trying to encourage them. What does Wynn want to do?
So let's see. Talara, Nikithi, and Kaz are my gunners, correct?
No,
Well, right
just
now-
Kaz and Talara.
Just Kaz and Talara?
Right now, yes.
All right. So Wynn is probably going to, just a matter, encourage Kaz on his next shot.
Thank you, my friend. I hope that it will not be for naught.
And let me roll first. See if so that's a diplomacy check, and I have +6 to. Oh no, I have 0 in diplomacy.
Well, you can do diplomacy, or you can roll the same skill check, which is like you trying to help them target, you know, with the gunnery station,
Okay.
which would just be a gunnery shot it yourself.
Okay, I'll do the diplomacy. I got +6 in diplomacy.
Okay, roll it up. This is DC 15. Oh boy.
It's a 24.
Oh jeez, everyone's rolling well here except me. 24. That is to encourage. Let's get on to the shooty.
So
Now,
oh, I was just gonna try to encourage Kaz.
oh yeah, no. What does Wynn say?
He just leans in and just think of the sweet credits that are on our way.
Okay, helping him focus up.
I'm honestly, I'm probably still thinking about Knack, but I imagine that Kaz cares about money.
I think you're just saying Drew cares about money. Jabert has drawn up the different fields here, and it looks like the starboard side is facing one of the drones, and the front arc is facing the other one. So Talara and Kaz, you can each take one of these guns. Who's taking the linked laser cannons in the front arc?
Talara, I will take the front arc.
Good.
Oh gosh, I forgot about Talara's voice. Okay, who wants to fire first?
I will.
All right, make me that attack roll. Lighten up these laser cannons.
That
Nice.
is a natural 20 from Kaz.
Oh,
Jeez Louise, Drew.
Oh snap!
is this a light laser cannon?
This is the linked laser cannon at the front arc firing at this drone.
Oh, I think we got to hear what this sounds like.
Oh yeah, here we go.
Oh boy. Okay, so first 20 on an attack roll for the season.
22.
It's a little bit more than that, but I can tell you that's a hit, as we know AC is 15. But yeah, this season, every time someone rolls a crit, a natural 20 on someone, we're going to thank one of our Patreon supporters out there and give them a little shout out. And this first one, it's with our new Patreon, is going to Casper. And
Casper!
they've, yes, in our Discord, have instructed me to roll a d6. Let me do that now. They just want to ask a random player how they're feeling, and this is Miles. Miles, how you feeling, buddy?
I'm feeling pretty good right now.
Thank Casper for backing us and somehow summoning the juju to give Drew this 20 when I rolled a 1.
You know, the rumors are true. Casper is the friendliest ghost.
Drew, why don't you roll me some damage here?
Casper went to college in my hometown. I love that. I think it's awesome. The small world that we live in. So normally this is 4d4. Do I roll 8d4 for this?
No, it does not work like regular attacks. You're still doing just the 4d4, but so long as you do hull damage, you roll no matter what, once on the critical damage D100 table, which means this is definitely taking critical damage no matter what you roll.
If you roll enough, it'll take 2.
Yeah, okay,
So that is 9 damage.
You've rolled a bunch, so it's taken... So with 9 damage in a critical hit, you're doing a little bit more than a single critical threat, because the critical threshold of a hull point 20 vehicle with no shields is 4.
Yes!
Which means you've exceeded the critical threshold twice, and with a natural 20, we're gonna have to roll a whole bunch on this critical threat table. Now, whenever
done, Drew.
Great, Drew. The damage exceeds 1/5 of the hull points is this critical threshold. For the Phoenix's Respite, you guys have 40 hull points. It's way too much at the beginning here. Your critical threshold is 8, and is a lot less for these little drones. So, Drew, do you want to roll all 3 D100s?
I would love to roll 3 D100s.
That's disgusting.
I'm hoping you roll some poor things here, because some of them will have no effect on this teeny drone, like life support.
Don't roll life support, Drew.
So, they're all in kind of the same range. Okay. 83.
All right, Drew.
99 and
What?
94.
The pronk is happening. Those are 3 hits on the power core.
Yes!
I think Drew just wrecked their power core.
Yeah. It goes glitching first, the first time it gets hit, to malfunctioning, to wrecked. Now, if you wreck a system on an enemy starship, it is a -4 to everything that happens in that section of the ship. But if you wreck the power core, which is very important to spaceships, to starships in this universe, that penalty goes everywhere in the ship, basically. So all crew actions for this ship, this one closest to your starship now, is taking a -4. Now, this does not happen preemptively. We're going to get these shots off beforehand, but next turn, it's not going to do too well. Let's go on to Talara. You've got another ship in your sights with this light laser cannon. I think both you and it might just be outside of this first range increment, so you're gonna have a little harder time. Should make me that roll.
Yeah, let's see what it can do. It's worth a shot. This will be +2, so that's 16.
16. Ooh. It might be time to posthumously use that +1 that we saw.
Oh, yeah. Can I do that?
Well, there's no other rolls on this turn, so I would say...
I meant to claim that, actually, because I was like, I'm going to be outside the range increment. Anyway.
That will be a hit.
Awesome.
Nice!
So, a non-linked laser cannon is 2d4. All right. 4 damage. It is the enemy's turn. Let's go back. Have them fire at you. This one that is far away in your port side, or that's the left side of the ship, right?
Correct.
I'm going to ask that every time we do.
I had to make myself a little cheat sheet and like put it right next to my monitor so I can be like fore, aft, port, starboard. Got it.
Right. This thing's got it's got a good bonus to it. One of the 2 things it does, which is piloting and gunning. So let's see what it does now. Ooh, an 18 on the dice. That's going to be a hit, thankfully. And this is also 2d4 damage. Ooh, 6 points of damage. Now on your port side of the Phoenix's Respite, you do have a little bit of shields. You got 2 shields there. They're wiped out. They get blasted away. And yeah, you get some laser scoring on that side of the ship. That's 4 points of hull damage right there.
Not good.
No, it's very good for me.
Hey.
And let's go back to this next ship, which, oh no, the next ship, you are not in its front arc. It does not get to fire at you.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Well done, pilot.
Which means that's the end of this turn, and taking us into turn 2 of the Starship combat. Let's get to it.
Nikithi's gonna hustle butt to the engineering.
hustle slug butt.
Hustle slug butt. It's the slug butt boogie to the engineering bay.
Nikithi has a new nickname now, by the way.
There's
There's slug butt.
I like. No. Hear me out. I actually really like Talara's nickname for Nikithi. If Rebecca would be willing to share that, or if she wants to save it for later, I'd understand.
Oh, it'll come up.
Tantalizing. Teaser. Oh, that's where we're going to pick.
Win is going to encourage Nikithi.
Oh, you want to give them a little boost?
Little boosty boost.
So
Based on how I roll on it.
as he's hauling slug butt, is this a diplomacy you want to make?
Yes, and that is a 24.
Jeez, again, you rolled a really high number. 18 will be enough. It's a DC 15.
Yeah.
So whatever check you're going to do, you get a +2 bonus. Tyler. Now, in the engineering phase, you can do a number of things as the ship engineer. You can successfully boost power to the shields, the weapon arrays, the science officer's equipment, or the ship's engine for a speed boost. And that is the divert action. So, Captain Wynn Kirk is shouting at you, Scotty, full power to the shields, and you're calling back, I'm giving it all, she's got Captain.
Yes, that's exactly what is happening, as I am indeed trying to divert power to the shields so that we can restore some shield points to that quadrant that was hit. So I've added my +2 here.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm sure
Such an easy roll.
Yeah, I rolled a 23, so...
DC 11.
Yeah. So
when you...
go ahead.
Yeah. Oh no, I was going to say, when you divert to the shields, you're restoring points back to the shields, right?
Right. 5% of the PCU rating of the Starship's power core.
And the power core for this, I think you get back like 5 or 6 shield points, right? What's 5% of the Phoenix's Respite's core?
I think it'd be 4.
90, it's Pulse Brown power core, so 5% of 90, 4, but you've only got 2 down, so the shields are back up to full.
Yeah, the shield points must be distributed evenly to all 4 quadrants. Any excess goes into the forward quadrant. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think they've actually eroded that a little bit.
I was just going off the cheat sheet.
It's all good. It's back up to full now, and that's the engineering phase. We've already had our captain action. Let's go on to helm phase. Helming it up. Now, this one vessel, this enemy vessel, it's got some negatives. Got some pretty bad negatives.
How many negatives does it have again? I can't remember.
So to everything it does, it's -4, including this piloting check. So I'm going to roll these 2 ships separately now. I was doing them before just for the ease of it all, but now you've made me pull out the big guns. Let me roll piloting for these guys first. So first, the severely damaged drone. Okay, well, rolled okay. Rolled a 12 there.
Still a lot of minuses.
You mean an 8?
And let's roll for the one that is damaged currently. Ooh, rolled even better. Now let's see how Bumfuzzle does.
All right, let's see.
Come on, Fuzz
Need that 19. Need that 19.
So I rolled up a 20.
Pretty good. You're going second in our order here. First, believe it or not, is this ship that you've battered and bruised.
Who we're calling Old Limpy, I think.
It's moving very, very far away from you, and is going to turn as it goes. To try and get its forward arc in your direction. And now you have to move as this other drone has outpiloted you. So where would you like to move the Phoenix's Respite? They're both basically angling on your port side right now.
Yeah.
Bumfuzzle, put me in range of the forward arc.
Yeah.
Can we just hold position and turn?
We certainly could do that. Yeah. There's no skill check for that. Yeah, I'll just turn in place. It's a stunt. Ship can face any direction. If you're clumsy or poor maneuverability, you take a minus to your AC and stuff. But if you have good maneuverability, you just turn it.
Okay, so you're not moving anywhere.
Yeah, I'm just gonna face. Yeah, so I'm just gonna turn in place and try to get both of these two ships in our front arc right now.
Okay, well, that will not be happening because this other one does get to move without any negatives. It's going to do the same slide action kind of forward to keep you in its front arc. And now it is pointing at your starboard side, the other side of the vessel. Doesn't matter because your shields are up on both. And that is Helm. Let's go on to Gunnery. Because you guys went first last time, I'm gonna shoot these guys first this time. And once again, it's only this one vessel that's now within range with the light laser cannons, so it's going to do a single shot. Your starboard side. Pew, 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 pew. Oh boy.
Guys, we got good at Starship combat.
I don't like this at all. I've rolled a natural 1. With my onboard computer and gunnery check, that is a massive failure. So no shots for me. Let's go on to Talara went second last time. How about we do Talara now?
Yeah, I'm going to claim one of those +1s.
Oh, goodness. I forgot all about them. So the starboard side gun, are you handling both sides of the ship?
Yeah, so this time I'm starboard. I think it was port last time, but yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, same vessel.
Oh no, natural 2.
Oh no.
Natural 2!
First natural 2 combat roll. Nothing special happens there, but even with the computer bonuses, that's going to be a miss. So there's your ship's firing like purple lasers out at it. You've got these green Aslanti lasers that are going right past the hull of your ship, maybe bouncing off a shield here, a glancing blow. But the other vessel is full on in the front arc of the Phoenix's Respite. Drew, let's make an attack roll with Kaz, and you've got another +1 too.
I'm going to claim that +1.
Or, I'm sorry, +1.
Yes, going to claim that
boy.
+1. So that's a 10 plus 3, so it's a 13 plus 1, so it's 14 to hit. Am I doing that math right?
Wait.
Sounds right.
I thought you had +4.
Yeah, your
What did
dexterity
you
is your dexterity modifier is 3, right?
Yes.
So you'd be your BAB and your dexterity modifier.
Oh, I didn't add BAB.
Four.
Okay, so 10 plus 4 plus 1 is 15.
Ooh, that's a hit. Yeah, baby.
Just a hit.
Mm-hmm. It's a teeny target, and you're threading the needle with this linked laser cannon twice in a row. Go ahead and roll that damage.
Oh, wow!
So that is 11 damage.
And that is enough. It goes up in a ball of flame. Just yes! It's a teeny explosion. It goes pew pew, and then it's completely destroyed.
Don't diminish my destroying of a starship.
Boy, oh boy, 20 points in 2 turns. That is the end of turn 2. This one is dead, destroyed. Let's go on turn 3. Does anyone else want to switch positions? Mainly Tyler with Nikithi. Do you want to stick in engineering, or do you want to move somewhere else?
I will. Nikithi will stay in engineering.
All right, what you got, Tyler?
Well, our shields took some hits, correct?
They did not this last turn.
No, because you rolled a 1 on the one
I
shot.
rolled another 1, so
Oh, that's right. And the other one didn't.
there are other divert actions you can do.
I will divert to the gunners and allow, which will basically, if they roll a 1 on damage, it will be a 2. So let's see if we can't soup up dem gunners. And I have rolled. Oh boy, I rolled a 3, but I have a +8. I'm at 11.
It is DC 11 at this level.
Yes.
I barely made it.
Nice.
So all you gunners count them 1s as 2s.
Well, yeah, one gunner, basically, because we've
Right.
just the
We'll
ship here.
We'll do the linked. We'll do the linked lasers.
Well, it can be whatever, whichever
I mean,
one
we
is
may
in
not
the,
end up
the
in
arc.
the range. So
But
Oh,
that,
we can decide when the person shoots.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Let's move from engineering onto the helm phase. Miles, when do you want to do anything before we roll for initiative?
I guess I'll try to help the pilot out.
All right. This one's taking just a little bit of damage, so no glitches going on with this one. Are you going to roll diplomacy?
Yes. That's a 12.
12 won't be enough, as it's DC 15. How is Wynn failing to communicate with the goblin pilot?
I would imagine, he's probably not paying attention to the voice in his head.
Right. That makes a good deal of sense, actually.
Yeah. I think Bumfuzzle might just be like screaming so loudly. Just doesn't hear.
I don't have to listen to you anymore, Dad. Okay, so a failure, but let's go ahead and roll that opposed initiative with a piloting check. Bumfuzzle.
Sure.
What you got?
All right, let's do it.
Oh,
yeah, that's gonna be 25.
It's so good. Please roll higher than a 16 on a dice. Oh no, I've rolled a 12.
Yes.
I'm gonna move first, which doesn't bode well. It's actually gonna do the back off maneuver. Just kind of move backwards, trying to keep you in its front arc. The back off maneuver is so low a DC, just like you. This thing can make it without even rolling because it has no negatives, so it just goes backwards, keeping you in its front arc. But you get to move second. Where would you like to move? The Phoenix's Respite.
Yeah, let's see. So it could only move 6. So we can still sort of, if it wants to play that game, so we're like right there. Then we can go, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Moving into its starboard side, right?
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, that's not gonna bode well for it.
And I'm going to like right there, I think we said. And I'm going to do the evade action as we do this. Or I guess we don't need to do the evade action because
you can for style points. Those count.
You know what? I'm going to do it for style.
Do it for style.
I'm going to
make
style points.
Yeah.
Here we go. Yeah.
Oh,
the most style. The most style.
20. Got 20 on this worthless piloting check. You're doing like corkscrews in this transport vessel.
Right.
No, I'm just like Nikithi is throwing up in the engineering. I can't wait. Absolutely right.
Right. I'm
20. Gosh.
Just like cutting flips and just being like I don't maybe Bumfuzzle has ever flown a ship once in his life. And
you've flown the Drift Rider and banged it up quite a few times.
Right, and I ran into everything when I did it. So it's just like I'm just punching the speed down all the way and just.
It's unfair because that was in planetary travel mode where there's actually stuff you can hit. Right now, you're just empty space and you're flying about.
Oh, I can't wait for all of our characters to die in the next episode.
Let's get this farce over with and go ahead and get to gunnery. Drew, you've got this thing. It writes in the front arc here. Taking that +1, make an attack roll.
Taking that +1, Kaz is going to take a shot. That's a 13 on the die, +4 is 17, +1 is...
That's a hit.
Yes!
So roll the damage, and now any 1s are now 2s because of the engineering roll. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You roll really well.
So that is a 3, a 4, a 4, and a 3 for 14.
We haven't done it in a while, but... Hashtag next shirt. Yeah, baby.
Who? So is that? So is that 4 critical effects?
Yeah, because we didn't get past the first one on the first hit. So that is indeed 4, which means
my God.
Roll 4 D1 hundos.
Oh boy! For critical threshold damage.
Here we go. That is a 42.
Yes.
A 63. A 46. And a 63.
thing ever.
I mean, you didn't hit the useless stuff, which is 1 to 30 life support and sensors. That is both glitching and malfunctioning for the weapons array and the engines, which applies to pilot actions.
Man.
It's only got the single arc of weapons, front arc. So yeah, -4 with the malfunctioning condition to this remaining drone. Yikes. Just giant billboard out in space that says yikes behind the ship. It also has 2 hull points left, so double yikes. Let's speed through turn 4 and engineering. Anything, Tyler?
No.
Boost
Helm
weapons.
phase.
Boost weapons.
All right, let's see what we got here. Oh, I didn't do great.
I didn't either, but even with the -4, what did you get?
I rolled a 12 altogether.
Oh boy, natural 3. So it actually, even with the malfunctioning condition, gets to move second. So go ahead and you have to move foist.
All right, I'm gonna do.
Lucky day.
I'm gonna do something kooky here, gang.
Oh, no.
Get ready for this.
Oh, no.
I'm gonna do the flyby maneuver.
Holy.
Yeah, we're just gonna like blitz through this guy's blitz through this guy's space, and I'm basically just gonna spin the wheel and just whip it around so that our front arc is facing it right when we're up next to it, and we're just gonna blow past this guy and see if we can't hit him before he hits us.
Oh boy. So this is a difficult DC
Yeah.
piloting check. Do you want to take a +1 from the computer, a little computer guidance?
Yeah, I'm gonna take a +1 on this one. Here we go. Ooh. Oh yes, that's better.
Please.
That's a 29.
19 on the dice. Yes, it's a piloting check of flyby. DC 16, so beat it by like 12. So go ahead and move yourself behind this vessel. It doesn't get that free attack.
Yeah, so I'm just going to sort of like do this and then sort of like turn it up. Like I'm sort of like crossing through. And then now we can use any arc we want at close range on this guy.
And it's gonna move back around here while turning. It's gonna face its front arc towards your starboard. Win any action before we finish off here? Gunnery.
See, I can only do 1 per crew per turn or per combat, right?
And for basically yelling at your teammates, it's a command action called Demand, where you use Intimidate and you shout at someone.
I still haven't encouraged Talara yet, so I'll...
Oh, you can encourage anyone, but you can only demand once.
Oh, okay.
But feel free to encourage or demand anybody.
Spread all the win love around and try to encourage Talara.
So hold on. Can we fire the gun from the 4 arc in this turn or no?
Yes.
We can, right?
Yes,
So
because we did the flyby. Yeah.
I feel like we should probably encourage Kaz because he's more likely to hit than Talara
Well,
is.
I failed the dice anyway, so it doesn't matter who I encourage.
Yay for moo points.
Okay, let's get into gunnery here. Attack roll with a pretty large negative. Yes, you guys. Oh, I rolled a 13 on the dice, which is a 14. You did not evade, but even if you did, that is a hit. Oh, thank goodness. Doing some damage here against one side of your ship. Not a ton. 2 points of hull damage. You've taken 6 in total as the shields drop on that side. Go ahead and return fire.
All right, Kaz, because we can attack with the front arc because of that maneuver, is going to take one of the +1s. That's a 19.
Jeez.
That's a 19 on the die. Do you want me to actually do the rest of the math? No.
Well, no, it's a hit. The AC 15 is no, so go ahead and just damage. And this is mainly for finesse because you're doing at least 4 damage here.
Yeah, then that's 10 on the die. So.
With that, yeah, your purple linked laser cannons are firing right where the ship is about to be. Your bum puzzle gets you extremely close. It tries to fire back and maneuver around. It is too late. It explodes. We're at a Starship combat.
Yes!
And a giant little dust cloud goes poof. The final laser blast, sends it into a little ball of fire and space dust. And where it was a moment ago, there's just tiny little bits of flotsam and jetsam bounce off your front shields. Yay!
Yay!
We won!
Yay! This season 2 was longer than one episode. Yay!
I don't know how many combats end at the beginning of this campaign, but you'd have to make your ship pretty bad.
We didn't make this ship.
Yeah, I was about to say, thanks to our fan. I was looking at this ship. I was like, I don't know. It's not that crazy, but I think with the right crew, any ship is pretty deadly.
Yeah, with the natural 20 on the first shot of the combat, I feel like we're probably okay.
I hope so.
So you've got some space debris out there. Why doesn't anybody that's got computers go ahead and use the ship's scanners? See if you can see what remains of this craft.
Okay.
Sure. I mean, can do that.
It's a 16.
Ooh. Oh no. Both Win, the captain, and Kaz are able to sort it out from the wreckage, but Nikithi, maybe you're too busy looking for something that isn't there, because what you find is not there. It seems there is no signs in your scans of any drift technology, which means whatever placed these drones here, it had to come from some other ship.
Gotcha.
And either dropped off to attack or defend or maybe recon the planet. And let's do, inside the ship, I think you get another confirmation, Kaz, as you're scanning. You find like a single, like undestroyed side panel, a green panel stamped with an official seal, and you know it to be the trademark construction styles of the Clockworks Foundry of the Aslanti Star Empire.
Tick, tock, tick. They are right at least twice a day.
You roll 20s at least twice a day. I'm going to do stuff a little bit differently this season, as I'm going to try and give you guys XP totals as we go. Live
Really?
XP readings, yeah. So in just the Starship combat, for destroying these 2 drones, you all earned 600 experience points, which divided 4 ways, which is what we're doing, is 150 XP each, individual.
All right.
And then also, because you were able to identify these are indeed Aslanti drones, that's an additional 400 XP, or 100 each, bringing your totals individually to 250 XP. That means you all are almost 20% of the way to level 2.
Nice! So far from level 2!
In a couple of episodes. Already 20%.
Where Nikithi really takes off.
You all are free to do what you'd like now. You're at a combat. What do your characters say to one another now that you're through your first space battle, a 5-person team?
I do not understand why I have taken to firing a starship weapon, but I promise I will try to continue this in further engagements.
Yeah. A 20 and a 19 is pretty gross. I think you've used up all of your Starship luck. Forever.
These short-range Aslanti drones are troubling. A larger vessel or bigger fleet must be nearby. We should be careful.
Yes, that concerns me as well.
There aren't supposed to be any Aslanti in this sector, are there? There haven't been any reports of this.
Patrick, have there been reports of this?
Rolls a random dice. There are no reports of this.
There are no reports of this.
Well, I mean, this planet, from what you all have been told, there's literally nothing on it except a tiny colony that just started a few months ago. Maybe like 100 people or so. I mean, it's a pristine planet. There's no other cities. There's nothing.
Can we scan the planet and see if there is maybe significant more signs of life than what we were expecting?
Yeah, so you're getting close enough now to the atmosphere to try and make contact, and as soon as you open up communications, get back a wide static burst as a response. Miles, as captain, what does Wynn say to try and raise contact, get through this static burst?
So Wynn tries at first with some of his psychic abilities, come in, and he realizes that it's not going to go through. So he starts growling and just said, "This is Captain Wynn of the Phoenix Respite, trying to raise Madelon's Landing. Come in, Madelon's Landing. Do you read? We have sustained damage and are in need of your coordinates to land. If you do not let us in, we will be left no other option, and we will have to do the unthinkable. We will have to be continued."
Oh! Literally, no one can see it coming if I'm not the one doing it. I'm like a thief in the night. You'll never know unless you're the one that's actually in the episode. And then you better know. Oh, that's it for episode 2, aka episode, 76, Cosmic Crit.
Oh man,
Can't believe it.
Getting up there. Best fairing of Starship combat you guys have ever done?
Except for the last episode of season 1.
Yeah, well, we had to talk about that one. Oh boy,
We had some
Tier
hacks
20
in
Starship.
the last episode.
yeah, you get a little bonus there with the capital weapons. But oh boy, great teamwork. The Phoenix's Respite held up. I was worried about those small shields, but I guess it just depends on who you're going up against. Mm-hmm. They were able to hang in there with light laser cannon fire, and doesn't hurt when you roll a massive amount of damage a couple turns in a row against your enemies. I think that's the most critical thresholds we've knocked through in like 2 turns.
Yeah, because I think there was expected to be more damage on our ship when we were coming through, so I was like, well, we sustained some damage.
Yeah, a little bit, but I spilled my drink. You guys aren't plummeting to the planet below like, come in. Let's land. We're coming in hot.
Yeah, that's what you would have expected us to do, which is what you wrote for me.
We're going to figure out what's going on with the colony next week when we come back, talking about against the Aeon throne. Until then, thanks guys for playing with me.
Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you.
And say, we'll see you next time, everybody.
See ya.
Next time.
Good night.
Bye. Goodbye.